So, you've been tasked with building an AI governance program. I know, it can feel like a pretty monumental undertaking. Well, today we're going to break down a really practical starter guide from Virtualization Options LLC. Think of it as a solid starting point, a roadmap you can then tailor to fit the unique needs of your own organization.
You know, at the end of the day, this is the one question that really matters. Is the AI you're building a massive competitive advantage, or is it a ticking liability? And here's the thing. The answer isn't left to chance. It's a direct result of the governance structure you put in place.
Okay, so let's jump right into this roadmap. We're going to explore exactly how to turn those potential AI risks into a real, defensible, strategic advantage. And we'll do that by creating a program that's designed for how your organization actually operates, with its own specific goals and challenges.
First up, let's get a handle on the landscape here. AI obviously has enormous potential. But, and this is a big but, it comes with equally significant risks if you just let it run wild. It truly is a double-edged sword.
And listen, these aren't just abstract threats on a slide. No way. These are real-world, super expensive consequences that can absolutely tank a brand overnight. A solid governance program is specifically designed to stop these exact scenarios from ever happening.
So, where do you even begin with something this big? Well, like any major project, you got to start with a solid foundation. In this case, that means defining your core principles and, crucially, getting that green light from leadership.
You know, what's really interesting here is how these principles, accountability, transparency, fairness, they form the absolute bedrock of any AI program people are actually going to trust. These aren't just nice-sounding buzzwords, they're the commitments that build real confidence both inside your company and with your customers.
And look, a plan is just a piece of paper without real support. To get that executive buy-in, you have to speak their language, the language of business value. You're not just asking for a budget, you're showing them the powerful return on this investment, both in terms of playing defense and offense.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates that defensive value. A 40% reduction in risk, that's not a small number. That is a massive decrease in the potential fires you and your team are going to have to put out later.
Now for the offense. A lot of people think governance is just about slowing things down, but it's actually the total opposite. When you create clear, standardized guardrails, you empower your teams to move faster and with way more confidence. It's like building a superhighway instead of a confusing maze of stop signs.
So here's the bottom line, the crucial point. The cost of prevention is just a tiny fraction of the cost of one single major failure. Preventing just one incident could save you more than the entire annual cost of the governance program itself. The math is pretty clear on this one.
Okay, let's move on to the next step. So we've laid the foundation. Now we have to assemble the project crew. And this isn't a one-department job. Not at all. It requires a truly cross-functional team to get it right.
I mean, just look at the roles here. Effective governance starts right at the top. You need the CEO for ultimate accountability, but then the CIO, the Chief Risk Officer, the General Counsel, they each bring an absolutely critical piece of the puzzle from the tech to the legal side.
And of course, that C-suite strategy only works if it gets translated into action on the front lines. Your technical teams are the ones who make it all real. They're embedding these governance principles right into their daily work, from documenting everything to actively testing for bias.
With the team assembled, it is time to create the project blueprint. This is your rulebook. It's a clear, consistent framework for assessing and classifying the risk of every single AI initiative your organization takes on.
You know, the genius of this 5-step process is that it's proportional. It makes sure you're not applying some heavyweight, bureaucratic process to a low-risk project. Your efforts are always focused where the risk is greatest, which makes the whole system so much more efficient and adaptable.
So for example, if a system gets classified as high risk, think about something used for hiring or credit decisions. That automatically triggers the highest level of reinforcement. It's going to require rigorous oversight, executive approval, and continuous audits before it ever sees the light of day.
All right, we have our principles, we have the team, and we have the blueprint. Finally, let's look at the actual construction plan that brings this entire project to life over time.
You can't just flip a switch on something like this. A phased roadmap is absolutely essential. It breaks this massive, complex project into manageable chunks. You start with the foundation, you build up your core capabilities, and then you expand and optimize over 2 years, taking you from a basic structure to a really mature, efficient program.
And maybe the most important takeaway from all of this is that this work is never really done. It's an ongoing process of learning, of adapting, of improving. It has to constantly evolve as your organization's use of AI grows, and of course, as the technology itself keeps changing.
So, this guide gives you the blueprint, the framework, and the roadmap. But every great construction project starts with a single, decisive action. Looking at your own organization, what is the very first step you need to take to start building your tailored program?